Hello, everyone. Kent Bresler here. I want to welcome you to Kent's Kidney Stories. During our time together over these podcasts, I'd like to discuss kidney disease. I'd like to tell you about my journey as a transplant patient, but also talk about dialysis, kidney donation, and just about anything else that might be of interest. Kent's Kidney Stories, a podcast endorsed and sponsored by kidneysolutions.org. Hello, everyone. This is Kent Bresler, and we're going to do some podcasting today. And I have two really great friends that we're going to start talking to here in a little bit. But let's first let's do a jump off with prayer in my heart. Lord, living with chronic illness can be a lonely and challenging experience. We pray for comfort and strength during times of illness, but surround us with caring and compassionate souls who can offer support and encouragement. Let us find solace in your loving embrace, knowing that you are with us through every step of our healing journey. And thank you for being our ever-present source of comfort. Amen. Okay, folks. Back in July of 23, I had the privilege of podcasting with Allie Dawson. And you need to go back and listen to episode 119 at Kent's Kidney Stories. Take some time to listen to that original one, and I think it'll add much to the conversation we're going to have today. It's always great to have people back because they have a penchant for loving kidney disease patients, and they like working with all kinds of ways of finding donors. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about kidney donation. We're going to talk about it, but we're going to talk about it in a different light. We're going to see how it goes on in London. My guests today, Allie Dawson and Sonia. Sonia, they're both from London, which is pretty cool. And I wanted to tell them before we really get started, there's a great possibility that Kathy, my wife, and I will be coming to London for a holiday to help a friend whose sister died here in the States, but she lives in London, so she's got to close the house and do all that kind of thing. So we thought we would try to go with her. We're still working on that. So that will give us opportunity, meet, greet, and go have fish and chips or whatever you do in London. So let's start. Welcome, you guys. This has been in my mind for a good while. I'm glad we got you back together. And I'm going to start with Sonia. What is the origin of your kidney disease? Can you give me a little background on that?
Of my kidney disease? Mm-hmm. Of course. Yes, of course. I suffer from polycystic kidney disease, which is a genetic disease, as you are probably aware. Yeah. I'm not sure 100%. It's not from my mother's side, so we assume it's from the father's side. And unfortunately, I have a twin sister, and she has the same disease, and she's currently on dialysis, waiting for a transplant. So that is the origin of my disease, polycystic kidney disease.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, that we have a lot of folks that we've worked with at Kidney Solutions with polycystic. I'm a good friend has polycystic kidney disease, and the joy of it. Joy of having a transplant with that, the disease doesn't come back after the transplanted kidney, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's, if I say a positive side of it in the terms of the disease, the new kidney is not affected by the disease that I have, the genetic disease, which is polycystic kidney disease, which is in a way great.
It's a wonderful thing, trust me.
Yeah.
Because you know as well as I do, when you're walking through this valley and this journey, there's no cure. That this is the next best thing to a cure. And then to have a guy like Allie show up in your life, I mean, that's got to be really near and dear to your heart.
Yeah.
Tell me how this all worked out. You guys kind of spot me some information because you really didn't know each other to begin with, did you?
Yes. So I'm a radiographer here in the UK, and I was working in one of the trusts, NHS trusts, and we receive students, future radiographers. I think you guys call it technologists or something like that.
Yes, that's exactly
in
right.
US.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
So Ali was actually one of my students. So I was like a supervisor mentor during his clinical placement. So I've met him that way. When I met him, I wasn't in that stage of kidney failure. I had kidney disease, but I wasn't in that stage. So we met through work, basically, him as a student and me as a supervisor. And Ali stands out in a crowd because Ali is a kind person, and it is what it is. He's kind of like one of those students that I never forgot. And we weren't even talking about kidney failure or anything like that at the time. He was so kind. He was so generous. And he was so keen to learn things. It was a joy to teach him, to be honest. So that's how I met him in 2000. I don't want to say anything wrong, 2010?
Yeah. And the transplant occurred when?
Yeah, 2017. So that was many years later. Many years later.
Yeah.
Ali, meanwhile, finished his degree, and he actually got a job at where I work at King's College. And at that time, he went to work in a different department from mine. I'm specialized in the dentistry world, dental radiology, but he went to main X-rays. So we kept in touch, but it was very random touch.
Sure.
You know, like from time to time, you like someone's picture on Facebook or anything like that. So in 2016, so that's like 5-6 years later, unfortunately, I got to that stage that I needed dialysis. So the doctors informed me, do you have any live donor or anything like that? I said, no. So you will go to the deceased donor waiting list in the UK. I started dialysis. I don't want to say anything wrong, but I'm going to say October 2016.
Okay.
And some of my colleagues, work colleagues, gave me some flowers and cards, get better soon, hope all goes well. And my sister put a picture of those flowers on Facebook to say, thank you everyone for your support, we appreciate, etc. So Ali saw that picture and he texted me individually, like privately on Messenger, and he said, hi, Han, what's going on? This is like 5 years later after I saw him in person, you know, like out of the blue. And I said to him, I told him I have kidney failure. I am just starting dialysis. And he said to me, don't you have anyone in your family, friends? I said, no, I don't. But no, they told me the waiting time is not too long, so I just have to hold on. And then he said like this, so what's your blood type? I said, O. And he sent me a picture of his blood type and said like this, I'm O2, I will do the test for you. I was like, unbelievable. I was so shocked. You can't believe the feeling it is. And I was like, he's so young. No, I don't want him to do that. And then Susanna said, what's going on? That's my sister, sorry, my twin sister. And I said, Ali is here on Messenger saying he's going to do the test for me. And she said, no, he's not going to do it. He's too young. So we kind of, can I say, try to persuade him not to do it, but every day he would text me, give me the contact of the live donor. I want to do the tests, like constantly, until I gave him the contact of the nurse in charge. He literally contacted the lady on the same day. And she even told me the next day, this guy's contacting me because he wants to do the test for you. So the feeling was, I need to meet with him. He can't do the test, but this is quite a serious thing. You know, he hasn't seen me for 5 years. And to give me a kidney, that's a very brave, altruistic act. I need to speak with him. So we started the test. I've met with him, a lot of crying and stuff like that, as you can imagine. It's very emotional.
Oh, gosh,
But I was always saying, please don't do this. This still has a bit of risks, you know, not a lot of risks, because they're not going to take a kidney to someone who actually needs it. They do a lot of tests to the person. So they know that it's secure to do. But I was still very emotional. How do I say? I was kind of thinking, this is not possible. Why is a stranger, almost a stranger, give me a kidney? You kind of balance in your personal life and you think, oh, it's actually almost a stranger giving me offering to give me a kidney. So we met a lot of times until the results came out. And that time it was faster than now, post-COVID. But let's just say 3 months later, we had the results, and the nurse said, "It's like you were like from the same family. It's a perfect match for you."
Yeah, a great match. Yeah.
Yeah. And he says, "A great match. It's like unbelievable. I feel like you're from the same family." That's what the nurse said at the time.
Yeah.
And then I still met with him. And even until the last day, I was like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to do this?" Constantly telling you can't change your mind even one day on the same day of the transplant. Please change your mind. Don't do this if you're not 100% sure. Every time crying, why is he doing this for me? Why is he doing this for me? I don't understand. And then on that day, I still remember this like it was yesterday, to be honest. I mean, it's been almost 7 years now. I remember clearly he was going to theater before me because obviously he goes first for surgery. And he came running, told the guy, the porter, the guy takes them to surgery, said, "Oh, I just need to give a hug to Sonia." He came running down the corridor to give me a hug. I started to cry so much, so much, so much. Nurses and doctor came, "What's going on? What's going on? Why are you crying?" I was having a panic attack because I know that was the moment he was going to give me the kidney.
He was going to go. Yeah.
He was going to go, and nothing was changing his mind.
Yeah.
And I started to cry so much that the nurse said, "Is she okay? Is she okay?" And she says, "No, Ali's going for surgery now." So it was a mix.
Yeah, process. That whole process is. Ali, what? You were really wanting to do this. I mean, you weren't just kind of haphazardly thinking about, oh, I'll give it. You really were. I don't know what the word is for it. You really wanted to do this. You really wanted to do it. Your heart was in it from the beginning, right?
Hello to you and all your listeners. Yes, it was kind of like my heart told me to do it as soon as I found out that she was on dialysis, and it was kind of like fate. Every test we did, and we were a match.
Yeah.
And every time we did a test or a blood test, and the doctors kept saying, "Oh, you're a perfect match." It kind of like verified it for me that this was meant to be.
There's a willingness, I think, for donors. They really do have it in their mind from the get-go. You understand what I mean? They don't really have any second thoughts. And what Sonia was talking about happens in this country, in the United States, with transplants. The transplant program, the transplant nurses and the doctors do what she was doing to you, to the other donors. You always have the recourse to quit. You can say no at any point. We can have you on the table, and it's constantly drummed into, almost like they don't want you to do it. And that's, I mean, I don't think it scares that many people away, in all honesty. Once they've made the commitment to start testing, it won't do it. But I can tell you from the difference here, it still amazes me how in the world, knowing what you had eventually going to need a transplant, why they had to get you, why you didn't do it in the first place before going on dialysis. And we struggle with that all the time. You know what I'm saying? To go on dialysis ahead of being able to be transplanted first, in my book, being a transplant recipient and an RN and being in this for so long doesn't make any sense. So
yeah, I agree.
Without getting off on a tangent here, it just seems to me that if you're not healthy with kidney disease and you're going to dialysis, and it's not going to make you any healthier, it's going to actually, make it worse in the long run. Oh yeah, it saves you, keeps your blood, semi good, but it still is progressively harmful to your body. And a healthy body going into surgery is a lot better off than it is if it's been on dialysis. So that's just one point I want to make. And it goes on here in the States all the time. Mm-hmm. So it's not any different in the UK.
No, it's not. Unfortunately, no, it's not.
And somewhere along the line, when we talk about this, it's very important for people to understand who are listening. You don't have to go to dialysis first. You can transplant first. And when you have a solid donor, right? When you can grab the hand of the donor, like Ali was, and embrace it, you can get it done before. You're going to be better off for it. But still, given all of that, what a wonderful thing to have a fella jump up and say he's going to do it. And that will never leave you.
Thank you.
You'll never understand it, but I can tell you one thing. Having a fellow like this, having a donor like my brother, it's unforgettable. And
it is.
It can't, and you can't, there's no way you can thank him.
No, I've told you this many times. No. There's no words to say thank you. I speak with Ali more than I speak with anyone in my life. I mean, except for my twin sister, obviously. She's going through the same now, dialysis, 3.5 years, 4 years waiting. Ali is the person I will talk more in my life. There's not one day I will not speak with him. Because for me, he's more than family. He's more than family for me.
We're like brother and sister now.
Well,
100%, 100%.
How could you not be? This is a living organ. This is a part of an individual who's inside you. Now, the responsibility for the care of that organ, that's not your organ. That's his. That's not, and that's the way I look at mine. My brother's kidney, I'm going to be transplanted 37 years at the end of this month.
Wow.
37 years.
Wow.
And that's taken a lot of work, and it's taken its toll now with the medications and stuff. My point is, that's Ali's kidney, and you're obligated to care for it in the best way you possibly can.
Kent, it has a name. It's called Mini Ali, if we're talking about it. Mini Ali. It's Mini Ali, and I am very demanding with myself and my health because I know how much he sacrificed to give me Mini Ali. So I'm going to look after Mini Ali like a maniac.
That's good, maniac for Mini Ali.
Yes,
that's what it is.
That's it. That it is.
Well, Ali, this is, when you do something like this, people say, how did it start in your mind? You saw it on YouTube and everything, or Facebook, whatever. Mm-hmm. But what was your first thought? Can you think back to that time? What were you thinking? What actually set you into motion to go do it?
Well, when I was a student, Sonia was quite private, so nobody knew about her kidney disease or dialysis or anything. And then it was quite a shock to find out when I messaged her. And because she was such a lovely teacher, and she would take a lot of time for her students. I always remembered her. So it just kind of, in my head, I just wanted to help her because she helped me when I was a student.
That's more than helping.
I tell all my students.
Yeah.
I tell all my students now.
The very first thought in your mind was, I need to help this person. Mm-hmm. See,
I tell all my students now, make sure you're nice to your students when you qualify, when you graduate.
Yeah.
You might end up getting a kidney.
Exactly. I think that's the reason. That's the reason we have so much trouble finding living donors. Living donors. I mean, having a living donor, regardless of where you're from, it puts a different perspective on survival and longevity. It's no doubt that having a living donor is going to last a lot longer than having a deceased donor. It's just in the nature of the game.
It is very, very true. It's facts. and studies shows that live donor is better than the deceased donor. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of altruistic people like Ali. I mean, there's still some people who go to hospitals here. They just say, I want to donate an organ, which like a kidney, which is very admirable in the UK. I'm not sure about in America. So, but there are not a lot of people like Ali who come out of the blue and said, yes, I want to give you this gift of life, because it's a gift of life. And I was on dialysis just for a short period, thanks to Ali. It was maybe 6-7 months until the transplant was booked.
That's preemptive there. That's great. Anything under a year. Yeah.
Yeah. My sister is now been for 2 years and a half. It'll be 3 years this year. I've been through that from two different perspectives. Mine, who was lucky enough to find Ali, and for looking at my sister and looking after her. And she's doing dialysis at home. It's not easy. It's very complicated. So I feel like I'm living that same situation twice, but without Ali in our lives now. So it is very complicated. I know how much it costs to be on dialysis. Although I was for a few months, I know what my sister is going through for more than 2 years and a half on dialysis and 4 years on the waiting list. So I appreciate so much what is done, and there will never be words for me to say thank you enough, because what is done, it has changed my life for the better, and that's the reality of it.
It made you alive.
Yes, true.
It made your life totally different.
Absolutely.
And that's on Ali. His whole concept of life is fantastic. I've talked to him before, and during our other podcast too, and he has a different, unique look at life.
Yes, he does. He's a special human being. That's all I have to say. Very special.
Well, we'll quit all the accolades. Ali,
you're both very kind. Thank you.
Yeah, you betcha. In America, we spend a lot of time and effort looking kidney solutions. My organization, several organizations in the country. No, we're not unique. We spend a lot of time and money looking for living donors. We do flyers, and we do interviews, and we do podcasts, and we do YouTube, and we do everything under the sun. Do they have that same type of flavor in England? Do they do that? Like for your sister now, I'm thinking directly of her. Is there things that you can do to try to find a donor for her?
So this is my mentality, as Ali said. I am very private, so we would never ask anyone for a kidney. People who are aware don't offer, and it's their right to. We're not just talking about friends, we're talking about family. So I will never, I'm sorry with the word beg for a kidney. People are aware of the situation. Like, I never ask Ali, and he's so kindly altruistic did it. That's what I expect from people. If they don't offer, they don't offer. It's not meant to be. So you will be a deceased donor, hopefully a healthy one, so she can have the next 20 years, 25 years without worrying about that. But unfortunately, we don't put, I know people sometimes do that option, put it on Facebook and things like that. I understand. It's a way to deal with the situation they have. For me and Suzanne, we're very private. So if the people who know don't offer, we're not going to ask strangers to donate for an organ. That's out of the question for us.
Okay, I honor
and
that.
we don't really have any organizations who would look for a kidney here. It's all just like either deceased donors or living donors
that happen to step forward on their own.
Yeah, it's more for create awareness for people after they die, to actually authorize for the organs to be donated.
That's a donate life oriented situation. Yeah, we'd like you to leave your kidneys behind instead of taking them with you. The concept
the main thing is.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ali. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, sorry. The main thing we say at NHS Blood and Transplant, where I volunteer as an organ donation ambassador, is to make sure that everybody in the UK registers their organ donation decision, so whether they want to donate or not donate. So that way their loved ones will know once they pass away that this was definitely their decision to do it or not.
Right. So they step forward pretty much on their own. That's not lost on me, because here in the States, the concept of not being able to ask is prevalent. In different cultures, a lot of people just don't want to do that. They think it's their burden, and although if you think about it, and this is what we say all the time at Kidney Solutions, if no one knows your situation, they can't help you. Not only can they help you, they can't help you. They can't pray for you. They can't bring you up to a higher being, to God or whatever. But in my mind, and I'm not going to argue this because I respect you, Sonia, respect you with a great deal of respect. If they don't know, just by mentioning it, even in family circles, not preaching it, just mentioning it, it plants a seed. If you had a child who was known PKD and was progressing very quickly with this PKD, would you not want to try to find a donor for them?
The way I was raised, I would never ask for a kidney. So I understand from a perspective, depends.
Yeah.
We did have someone who was going to do tests, and they're from Portugal, but the UK refused. So I rather not go there.
Okay.
Here in the UK, they said no. But we had someone but
I don't want to.
They are from Portugal.
It's just finding a donor is difficult, period.
Yes.
And there's different cultures, there's different thoughts and everything. But when someone gets a chance, like if Allie had not seen that on Facebook, this wouldn't have happened.
No, true. I wouldn't have mini Allie. But
you wouldn't have mini Allie.
There's not many Allies. That's the truth.
But also Susanna didn't write anything about the story. She just wrote, "Thank you to my colleagues for the cards and flowers." Because you didn't want anybody to feel sorry for you.
No, I didn't. I don't need anyone's pity.
That's common.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in this country don't want people to know that they have this disease because they think, man, they can give it to somebody else or it doesn't make you the perfect American to have a disease like this. You can't be the perfect dude on the street if you got kidney disease. So you either deny it or you completely shifted in gears and don't do anything about it till you crash and have to end up on dialysis.
Yeah.
And I think some of this, I believe, falls with the government. And, there should be a major emphasis on the fact that being a donor is a good thing. All right. And that should be part of it. It's for a deceased donor. Why can't it be for a living donor?
Yeah, they do it for the deceased donor, but they definitely don't have the mentality
that's
here.
A whole
even my country
change.
is the same thing. Even my country. It might be a European thing, to be honest, because I don't think we do a lot of propaganda or a lot of effort to talk about being a living donor. It's just the deceased donors and authorize your after decease that your organs can be donated. That's mainly the objective in like this country back in home in Portugal. So hence our attitude as patients ourselves is we don't hide our disease. We have it. I have no problems for people to know, but I would never, ever ask someone to give me a kidney. And that goes through my sister too. So that's the way we were raised.
We'll leave it at that. I respect you with all my heart. And that's okay. All right.
Yeah.
Because you're living proof that living donor is the best way to go. And
yes, it is. Yes, it is. I agree.
It's not the only way. And we never reject the opportunity to have a kidney if you need a transplant. You never say no.
Yeah, true.
Never say no. So, Ali, once you just made this decision, what kind of hoops did you have to, what covers the expense of having a transplant in UK?
Well, in the UK, it's all under the NHS, so it's free. But also they do a scheme where it's like an income protection scheme for the person who donates. So and not many people know this, but you basically fill out this form, you send your pay slips, and then they will kind of reimburse you for that time that you're off work. So you're not missing out on full pay,
Yeah.
which is
yeah.
really, really good.
There's an emphasis in the United States right now, a bill in front of Congress that's, if it passes, it will give financial up to $50,000 over 10 years for somebody who donates a kidney. That's what they're trying to get through. That is one
Fingers
point. And
crossed.
for a long time, they'd say, you can't pay donors. You can't pay for kidneys. You can't, well, we're not doing that. It's not payment. It's a way of, making sure that you're protected. In other words, a protective act that allows you to have no fear that you're going to lose your job or no fear that you're going to lose your income. And so Britain has something like that, which we ought to take a look at and think about.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I asked the question. There's also in my mind the idea that most of the time, people who have given a kidney, what happens if your kidney fails? I've had that people tell me, what happens if your kidney fails?
Well, I believe in good karma, so because my own mother actually asked me that question. She said, "Well, what happens if something happens to yours, or what if one of us needs a kidney?" And I said, "Well, I'm sure God will look after me, and the good karma will come my way."
Yeah. Well, aside from the karma in here in the country, in the United States, if you give a kidney, you donate a kidney, regardless. If something happens to your other kidney where you go into renal failure, you automatically go to the top of the list. No questions asked.
I think something like that exists here as well.
See, that's
a good question.
Yeah, I mean, just what would happen? Just at some point in time, you might give me an email and tell me if you figure it out. But
I'll confirm it with the team at NHS Blood and Transplant.
Yeah,
but I think I've heard of it before.
Yeah, because that's an incentive. Instead of giving $5, you get the incentive that if something happens, I'm covered. It's like having an insurance policy. You're going to get a transplant.
Yeah. And also every year, for the rest of your life, you go for it's like a
checkup.
I call it a MOT. Like they check you out.
Yeah, a checkup. Yeah,
so you have your
a checkup.
Sure.
So that's quite reassuring as well, to know that they're always going to look after you.
I'll tell you what. Nowadays, in this country, there are so many people waiting on the list to get transplant. Over 90,000 people.
90, here is around 6,000, 7,000. 6.
That's a big difference.
It's a huge difference. Yeah,
big
huge
difference.
Yeah,
so I've actually got the figures in front of me.
Shoot those figures.
Okay. Tell me the more accurate one.
7,500 people are waiting for a transplant, of which 5,927, which is exactly 3/4, are waiting for a kidney.
Okay.
So it's around that's in England.
Yeah. Is it England or Great Britain, like the UK, United Kingdom?
Yeah.
Everybody can.
Yeah, the whole of the UK.
The whole thing,
okay.
the whole of
All
UK.
Of UK.
Okay,
I got it. Now I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's kind of with Northern Ireland and Ireland and Scotland. And what have you? Yeah. Well, I can tell you.
So it's quite when you say 3/4 of people out of all of that, it kind of hits it home.
Yeah. Then when you speak of 90,000, that 90,000, then that really puts a seal on top of it. Wow.
Those 90,000 is just kidneys?
Yeah, just kidneys.
Wow.
100,000 need organs.
Wow.
90,000 are looking
kidneys
for their, a kidney, just the kidney itself, not a kidney pancreas, those are all combined in over 100,000 people.
Yeah. So about same as here then, 3/4 of people are waiting for a kidney.
Yep. And so when you look at that, we have also a bill that was passed way back in 1972 that covers every patient with renal failure gives them what we call, I call it a blanket insurance policy of 80% of their costs are going to be covered for dialysis. And 80, if they're transplanted, it covers that 80% of the transplant. And that's by law. I mean, that Medicare takes care of it. We have a social program called Medicare, and that's an insurance, exactly, but you're responsible for 20% of the overcosts of it. So
a person is responsible for 20%, or is it the insurance is?
Well, the insurance,
like
they're responsible having insurance to cover it. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, okay. I guess, sorry to interrupt you, Kent. I guess here it's kind of like my country. So everything is paid by the NHS. So I don't pay anything.
Yes,
so
that's understandable.
We're really lucky.
So we're very lucky. I'm very blessed to be here. Even if I was in Portugal, I wouldn't have a mini alley through, but it would still be covered by the government. I wouldn't have to pay anything, medications and everything like that. After the transplant, you have to take medication. That costs money too, isn't it?
Oh, and that's big money. That's big money here. I don't know what is there.
We're very blessed in the UK in that way.
Yeah. We have medications. Just thinking back, medications costing tens of thousands of dollars just for one dose.
Okay.
And so that then just eliminates about the vast majority of people from being ever able to access that.
Afford it.
And the argument's always been, you got to pay yourself, pay your fair share. Well, I understand that. I get it. But some people have really poor means. Why can't they have access to the best too? If they whatever it is that they can afford according to what they're earning, that really ought to be the respect. Not just everybody gets it if they got insurance.
Of course, you're right.
Have a patient right now that we're working with who needs to go. She's rejecting the kidney, no insurance. So she needs to go back. She'll go back on Medicare because she'll end up having, intervention. But that doesn't always happen. People just let it go because they don't have insurance. They lose a kidney.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you are blessed, and thank goodness. Yeah. Thank goodness that. That's just the way it is. I mean, and I don't know what the rest of the world. There's an organization called the American Association of Kidney Patients here in the United States.
Yeah.
Started in 1969, and it was they were the ones that essentially got the start for this law in 1972. And I'm a member of that organization. It's free to be a member, and they're nationwide, and then they're global. We try to get as many people as we can to sign up. And there's a lot of information that you can get from them, by them, about kidney disease. They're good influencer when it comes to education. And then all you have to do to be a member is just go to aakp.org and you got it.
No.
Free. Anybody. So, all right. So let's go back and think about how we make this better for each one of you. What are the things that you're doing to maintain good health now? Have you thought? I noticed that Ali had a glass of wine, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'll have a glass of water.
Have a glass of water on Ali.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Tell me if there's other things that you're interested in talking about. I'm good to go. I love having you on. So anything that really would you want to discuss?
In terms of kidneys, as I said, I'm very grateful, very blessed that I'm in the country that I am, that I had and have Ali in my life. I also know what it is to wait longer, because I feel like I'm going through that with my sister Susanna.
Yeah.
I am so much appreciated of the fact that I had a live donor, which is
Oh, yeah.
better outcomes than a deceased donor, that I'm very careful with my life, and I'm very careful. We were just talking about a glass of wine, a glass of water. I try to be as healthy as I can, because I'm very happy that 7 years later, almost 7 years, almost next month, that I have very good next month. Yes, almost there, almost there.
7
I have
years.
7 years. I have a very good function of the kidney, and Mini Ali is working very well. I'm very, very grateful to him. So I'm also making that effort. If it depends on me, this kidney will last a lifetime. If it makes sense.
It will.
Yeah,
trust
because
me,
I'm working.
Will.
Yeah, because I'm doing that. And as I said, being involved in this world of kidney disease, knowing what it is to have a live donor and what it is not to have a live donor, and what it is to stay longer on dialysis and how much that takes a toll on you, I'm very, very appreciated. And I would like in the future that there would be more research, not only for obviously improve post-transplant, the medications that we take, improve also dialysis and how dialysis is, can take a toll of a person after so many years, so many people waiting 7 years, more than 7 years. My sister is going to be 4 years now that she's been registered for a transplant. So I'm even more proud of Ali, because not only he gave this gift of life for me, he actually is an ambassador for the NHS organ donation, which means every year he got a volunteer prize for the volunteer of the year last year, and well deserved, because he's always going one step ahead, always trying to create more awareness, to show himself as evidence that you can be a live donor, that obviously the NHS over here, which is our service, health service, will test you. They will not take a kidney for someone who actually needs that kidney. So the chance of having kidney failure after giving an organ like kidney, it's really, really small. I mean, you can't stop everything in life. We all know that diseases and viruses and bacteria can cause you suddenly something. But is the evidence that if you really are out there and listen to this, and if you can help one human being, it's such a good gesture. It will make such a difference in people's life, which has cost to me. And when I see my sister suffering every day because she's still waiting for a kidney, I appreciate him even more. So hopefully, who knows, if people listen to your podcast in America, of course, and if they can help someone else, who knows, they will do that step and they'll go forward to change someone else's life.
This is offered, this podcast, when it's done, when it's set up in the next 2 or 3 weeks, it'll go out over all the channels here that we have, but it's also available to you. You'll get a copy of this. And I would
all over the world, isn't it?
I would hope that you would take both Ali's first one and this one and spread it. Share it throughout your communities. And encourage the transplant programs to use it. Okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And because it doesn't need to sit on the shelf. All they need to do is subscribe and comment on it. This is a very good situation for you guys to get more living donors. A vast majority of people have no clue what Ali did. All right? Nobody. And how many of you think that would listen to this story would then say, I can do that? Well, and then how do I do it?
I've had a lot of people actually reach out to me and say, you've changed my mind about living donation. And a few people have said they've gone and became living donors and just offered it altruistically to whoever's next on the list, which is pretty amazing.
Yes. It is.
What ends up happening in the United States when somebody does that, it usually ends up in a chain. Not only does one person that take advantage, upwards of 12 to 14 to 16 people can have advantage. Everybody
we have
wins
that
when there's living donation. Everybody.
Yeah, we have that as well. It's called like a pool donation. So
paired exchange.
There could be like it could be like 3 people. One of them's compatible with the other one, and the other one.
Absolutely.
And it's pretty amazing how it all works.
Yes,
it is. If at some point in time, you you want to start working in that direction, I know you already are, but you want to enhance it, we'd be willing to help you in any way we can.
Yeah, sure.
And doing one of these, if you get this out and just take it and put it in your pool, put it in with your Facebook people and in your areas, and let the transplant team have it. Give them the link. The link is not copyrighted.
Yeah.
There's no cost to you at all. It's free. What we're doing here today, everything we do at Kidney Solutions is free.
Yeah.
So that link, when you get it, it's yours. You do whatever you want to with it.
And Sonia will tell you, I'm normally quite a shy person, but then I was inspired by this lady who was the UK's first ever living donor. She's called Diane, and she was on this website called giveakidney.org, and she kind of shared her story, and she said she's sharing her story so more people see.
That's what you two need to do.
And then that's what we kind of did, and we've been on the news, we've been on TV, we've been in newspapers.
Yeah, good. That's right. That's great.
Yep.
It's a good start. It's a great start.
And I'm always happy to, if any of your listeners have any questions about living donation or anything, I'm happy for them to contact me.
Oh, absolutely. And I think when you said that, when you put this out over there, they can contact you, and how they do that. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
We can share my Twitter handle, which is Ali Dawson _
Ali Dawson _ and they can get in touch with you.
Yeah.
Okay. When you start disseminating this link to this podcast, make sure you put that on at the very beginning and you introduce it. This is how you get a hold of us. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And fear not, once this starts, it kind of snowballs. I never imagined that Kidney Solutions would grow as fast as, and there's thousands of people out there trying to help people find donors. A lot of them charge money. At Kidney Solutions, we don't. We're free. It's a free aid. All of our people are volunteers, and they've all had something to do with kidney disease. Either they've been transplanted, or they're donors, or they're caregivers.
And how are you and your brother doing now?
My brother's, I'll tell you, I'm still the best looking. That's all I can say. He's done well. Over this 37 years, he's had the same things that people get. I mean, just because you have a transplant doesn't mean you don't have to deal with heart issues and, things like that.
Of course.
And diabetes and all of that. Things just happen. All right. Life goes on, whether you have a transplant or not. But having a transplant puts you in a position where you're healthy enough to fight it off. All right.
Yeah.
You can't do that when you're on dialysis.
Yeah.
You can't do it. So I think probably in the scheme of things, and I say this to my deathbed, had he not given his kidney to me, although I had another brother who would have done it too, but if I hadn't gotten that kidney, I would not be here today.
Yeah, I understand you very, very well.
And people who haven't gone through this experience, who haven't had kidney disease or donated into kidney disease, they're the ones that know. But to try to explain it, people don't get it. Because you walk around, you look just fine. I mean, you take a look, the three of us, you wouldn't know that we had any issues with our kidneys.
No.
But walk into a dialysis unit, you'll know who's got problems with kidneys.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I have had a good time. I could go on for another 2 or 3 hours, but my wife won't let me do that. And
always listen to your wife.
I do, and I'm bringing her with me when we come to London. So I'm looking.
Yeah, we look forward to meet. We look forward
to meet you and your wife.
Yeah, and I've got your emails, and we'll keep you in touch. And it won't be a short one. We'll be in for a week or two, and because we want to help this gal. She's been a very close friend of mine through the years. Her husband, who died just a year ago, was an employee with me. We worked together. He was a pharmacist and I was an RN. So yeah, we'll be in touch. Okay.
We will wait. We will wait, Kent.
All right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
As I always tell my folks in the group session, at some point in time, I'd like to have you come on, but it's so late for you at time. It's at 6 o'clock at night, which puts you at midnight or 1 o'clock. So I'm not going to do that to you. And when we do our support groups, most people realize that what we're doing, we're not doing for ourselves, we're doing for others.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody in the world that knows more about kidney disease than somebody that's got it.
Yes.
If they don't
very
know it
true.
now, they're going to learn it real quick. All right. And we want to get to them ahead of time as best we can and get them a living donor versus waiting to go on dialysis.
Yeah.
So I want to just tell everybody thank you for listening today. And I really want to do something good with this. Bring it to all of your friends and share it with everybody. This link that comes up, it's in Spotify, it's in all the different places where you can get to do your podcast. And for instance, all you have to do is type in Kent's Kidney Stories. And there's over 130 now, over 130 podcasts that you can glean from, read about them, and that's it. Away we go. So until we meet again, keep breathing.